Welcome to the Hush Harbor, where the whispers of the past guide us to the truth. I'm Christian Stovall, the American heiress and founder of the fair, and this is our sanctuary. Hush Harbors were secret gathering places where our ancestors met in the cover of darkness, away from watchful eyes. They came together to speak freely, to remember, to resist. And now, we reclaim that space. Here, we'll uncover hidden histories, decode the symbols all around us, and piece together the truth that was stolen. This is our time, our story, and our journey together. Welcome to the Hush Harbor. Let's find our way home. Welcome to the Hush Harbor, everybody. I'm Christian Stovall, the American heiress and the founder of the fair, the Foundation for American Indian Restoration and Education. Hey, everybody. So I was just going to listen to a little music, and then we're going to get into what we want to talk about tonight. I'm not going to be on for long. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody doing this Sunday evening? Okay, the Sunday night. Let's see what we got. What y'all know about this? Did you understand that? Iran. Stevie Wonder was a fool. You understand that? Chevrolet. Chevrolet. Ooh, there's peace. Okay. Everybody. Hey. Come and hand. Hey, everybody. Let people tune in. We'll listen to the music. Don't you worry about a thing. I had to think about that. Don't you worry about a thing. Okay? There's peace and divine guidance here, okay? We don't have to worry about anything. You got to stay at peace and know that we're being divinely guided. Stay in good cheer. This is good. Knowledge, right? The divine guidance is taking us to this knowledge. Yeah, Isis inspiration and romance. What? Don't you worry about a thing. Welcome on, cause I'll be standing on the when you check it out. Greetings, Priestess Nefertiti. Welcome. How are you? Hey. I love it. Hey, don't you worry. Don't worry, you guys. Oh. Okay, let me see what we got on here. Music for manifesting. Okay, we'll listen to some jams. Hey, what's good? Happy birthday, twin! It's my birthday, twin. How are you doing, brother man? Our birthday's tomorrow. Okay. Let yourself receive, all right? Pay attention. So there's something that I'm gonna try to sound a little bit because y'all know I can't multitask. I've been getting that. One, you got to stay optimistic. I feel like that's part of this don't you worry about a thing sort of situation. Can we see? Stay optimistic. And alchemy, that's big too. But there's something that we have to pay attention. Notice repetitious signs and your inner guidance, as this can yield valuable information, okay? Our ancestors are trying to reach us. They're trying to communicate with us at this moment. And we really need to pay attention. They're sending us signs, knowledge from the other deck. I should have kept that out. There's also another, we're being guided to simplify our lives, to declutter. That came out in the other thing. I didn't mention it. It says organize your life, and now we have simplify your life. Dream big. You are worthy, because there's waves of prosperity here, okay? New abundance and exciting opportunities wash over you now. And know that you deserve to receive good in all ways, okay? What are we talking about here? Oh, thank you. I DM you. I'm gonna have to look and see. You talking on Instagram? Let me find out. Positive energy, okay? We're protected as we go about restoring our ancestors. And I know it's not easy, okay? Because Laura knows I be having hard conversations with folks. Because, you know, a lot of my friends and family, they're not in the know. And we gonna keep pushing this information anyway. I don't care if it's not widely known yet. It will be, okay? And it is. I mean, people, there are a lot of us who do understand. And now we're having to turn to our, you know, our counterparts, our people, and explain to them what the issue is going on. That's kind of what I've been going through, okay? In Kentucky. So it's after telling him I'm celebrating. Hey, happy birthday. Happy birthday. In fact, you know what's funny is my birthday, I was born in Michigan. And so when my parents called everybody in California to say that I was born, people celebrate my birthday on the 6th sometimes, my California family. You know what I mean? And it's almost like that's my birthday because that's when they got the news I was here. So I came in, you know, within the first hour of the 7th, and it was still the 6th that day too. So we celebrating, okay? Your email. Okay, I'm gonna have to check, Priestess. Hi, Kahe, welcome. Oshio. Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy you guys are tapping back in and we're enjoying it. Today we're gonna be talking about our neighbors, all right? To give you guys, if this is your first time ever tuning in, my name is Christian Stovall, the American Heiress. I'm the founder of the Fair. And what we do here at the Fair is we are setting the record straight. The original American people have been misclassified as Negro, colored, Black, and now African American, and anything in between, okay? But we have always been here. We're the ones discovered here. And now we are going about educating the world who we are so that we can take our rightful place in history as well as our rightful place in society nowadays, okay? Welcome, welcome. And the Midwest in the house. No, in Cali for 23 years. You're in California. Oh, girl. We neighbors, all right? Oh, shout out everybody. So yeah, and I have Midwestern blood too. My mama's people are from Kansas, okay? And some of them came there. Some of them were some of the first Powhatan people that came to like Arkansas during some of the first migrations in like the 1700s. And in fact, I descend from the founders of Pocahontas, Arkansas. Also some blood on my mama's side. We have the Hildebrands with the Trail of Tears history and heritage. There's in fact one of the Trail of Tears roots is named after the Hildebrand family. And I come from mixed bands of those people. So there's a lot of heritage and history, and that is kind of what brought me into this understanding of who we are as colored people. We're not colored. We're actually just the original Americans. In fact, we're going to play the foundation, and then we're going to get into today's, the topic of today's conversation. Let's get into that. Thank you guys for tuning in, y'all. Let's see, where are we at?
Who are the original Americans? History has been rewritten, but the truth remains. The Foundation for American Indian Restoration and Education, or simply the FAIR, is here to set the record straight. Our foundation is simple. The FAIR stands on its signature original American identifiers to define what an original American truly is. Our mission is to uncover the truth, reconnect descendants, and restore a lost heritage. Through our FAIR Original American identifiers, we reveal the true identity of the original American. The emblem of America. The emblem of America is an allegorical figure from the British Museum and is noted to be an ethnic representation of the American people. So what exactly is an American? The definition of American. The 1828 Webster's Dictionary defines an American as a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginal, or copper-colored races, found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Colonial and U.S. Census records. Early U.S. Census records show that for the first 70 years, only two racial categories existed: colored and white. Who were these colored people? The fair asserts that they were the original inhabitants of this land. DNA. Ancestry.com DNA analysis labels the only communities for the region of indigenous North America as either African American or European settler. Surprisingly, there aren't any Native American communities listed for these lands, leaving the African American communities the only ones given the nationality American, proving that those labeled as African American today are the true original Americans. Your ancestry holds the key. The fair encourages everyone to research their genealogy, connect with historical records, and rediscover their true roots. Every generation carries a piece of the story, one that deserves to be reclaimed. Join us in reclaiming history. Visit the fair today. Connect with your roots and restore your identity.
Okay, so that's our foundation. We're founded on the 1828 Webster's Dictionary's definition for American, which states that we're originally natives of America, that originally applied to the Aboriginals or the copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, but now apply to descendants of Europeans born in America. Okay, and that's what we're talking about today. There was really only colored and white here in America. And we're looking at the history, Jim Crow, slavery, Reconstruction, not being able to drive to the South without worrying about somebody capturing you and putting you on a tree, even in your own. I mean, it's a lot. Okay, all that happened because we were being colonized. That is what we can remember of the colonization of America, is what has happened to the people who they have called the N-word and whatnot. Also, we'll really quickly go into that one. I keep forgetting. 1 second, y'all. We're setting up the lesson, y'all. Let's see. I'm so blind.
The N-word. According to the Oxford English Dictionary, the N-word was used to describe dark-skinned people of any origin. But in early U.S. history, it was most commonly used to refer to the American Indians. That means the people that were called the N-word in the past were not from Africa. They were in fact the original Americans. The truth was hidden, but it can never be erased. The fair is here to set the record straight. Join us today in reclaiming our nationality.
Okay, so even the N-word, when they were calling us the N-word back in the past, they were usually that was usually in reference to the American Indians or just the original American people, the free inhabitants, even the enslaved inhabitants. Okay, the original people here have always been dark-skinned. Okay, and what has been going on is that our history, our heritage, our land, our identity has been taken over. Okay, by the establishment and supplanters. That's the truth of the matter. And I have to speak freely because it's if we don't call out the situation and the lie right now, then we're going to miss a whole nother cycle and opportunity for restoration, which cannot happen on our watch. Okay, we have always been the do something about it crew, and this is us doing something about it right now. We are reaching out to our base here, our soul tribe, okay, so that as we continue to make stands in our community, we can reconnect with one another. So while I say that, please make sure that you guys follow the Fair YouTube channel. Okay, it is I've posted on the community board. Tomorrow I'll make sure I will
repost it again so you guys can have that link, but it's just youtube.com/fair rules, FAIRE rules, RULES. Okay. All of those videos are listed there, and we're continuously adding more, but you can share those with people. We're creating them so that they could be easy, quick ways for people to understand the information, for us to be able to set the record straight. Okay. Because really it is, like somebody said in the last stream, it's an each one teach one situation. So each one of us needs to be telling people about this. This is good news. I'm hearing Noel. Okay. Emmanuel. It might be just my Catholic roots. It's coming through. Okay. But I'm hearing that Noel, it's good news. We are here to preach the gospel, and this is the gospel. Okay. Do you love it? Am I an evangelist? Okay. Y'all know I'm goofy. Okay. So today we're going to be taking a look at this picture, this drawing, this painting. What would you consider it? I don't know. Let's see. It's called, this represents our next door neighbors. Okay. This is from the, you can find this on the Encyclopedia of Virginia. But what it says, let me turn off my camera so I can bend over and read, being so close to the camera. It says, oh, carry me back to old Virginia. Oh, I love that. Okay. And then it says, a little black girl spinning wool. And what we can see is this brother over here grinding the corn into chickahominy. Okay. And I'll pull up the channel really quickly, or this site. One, we have always been their neighbor. In fact, they were our neighbors because we were here first. But same thing. Okay. When they were inhabiting lands and encroaching on lands, and it was our neighborhoods, our towns, our communities that were being encroached upon. Okay. That's why in pictures like this, we were their neighbors. Okay. We weren't their slaves. We were their neighbors. They have put us into bad contractual situations. Like treaties were the first contracts here in this land. Okay. But that's really what's going on. We've been put into these situations, and now we're enslaved, but we were once free here. Let me see. Let me get into the encyclopedia. Oh, you know what? Duh, Christian. My bad. Here's a better picture of it. I'm laughing. Okay, because I'm pulling up something that I already queued up. My bad. Okay. This represents our next door neighbors. Okay. It says a watercolor illustration created by Lewis Miller in his sketchbook of landscapes in the state of Virginia depicts African Americans at work. Okay. Or just Americans at work. A woman at left spins wool. The man at center holds a farm implement in his right hand, and in his left hand, a banner touting domestic and what? Native industry. Are you guys hearing what I'm saying? The man at the right grinds corn into what? Hominy. At upper left is the seal of the Commonwealth of Virginia. The inscription below the drawing reads, oh, carry me back to old Virginia. A refrain that predated, but is similar to the song Carry Me Back to Old Virginia that was written in the 1870s. Okay. Another thing I wanted to share with you guys, right? So one, we're seeing that the banner he was touting says domestic and native industry, meaning from the land. So sorry to yell, but the ancestors cannot take it no more. I'm trying to explain to you guys, because so many people, not just you guys, I know I'm preaching to the choir, especially if you guys are showing up to this, you know what I mean, and you're listening live. You guys already understand this, but our people want to leave this country, and God, believe me, the establishment they are like, oh my gosh, thank goodness, because once they can fully get rid of us, then it's really, you know what I'm saying, easy for them to be able to carry on with the rest of the plans that they have to make this a complete slave state. I'm talking about the whole nation. Okay. And they're getting rid of ever having to owe us anything. They're like, well, just please let's pray these Negroes go anywhere, but domestic and native, meaning here. Okay. And then the other thing that I want to show you guys is that this one is in here grinding corn into hominy. In Virginia, okay, there is a tribe called the Chickahominy. I'll share a picture. This is also from, hold on, y'all. Child. This ain't right. This ain't right. Here we go. The Chickahominy tribe. Okay, here's a wonderful picture. This is from the Encyclopedia of Virginia as well. This was taken in the 1920s in Richmond. Okay, Richmond, stand up. All my Chickahominy cousins, stand up. Okay, this is the original Chickahominy tribe. Now, what we see here on the left, right? What we see here's a colorized version of it. Okay, it says Chickahominy Indians pose in regalia at an unknown location somewhere after 1920. They are probably in Richmond to present their annual tribute to the governor. The annual ceremony honored the terms of the treaty, ending in the Third Anglo-Powhatan Wars from 1644 to 1646. In exchange for loyalty to the crown, the Chickahominy Indians received military protection from the English. The annual ceremony continues to be observed by the Pamunkey and Mattaponi tribes, but not the Chickahominy. Okay, and when you see this tribute being done nowadays, it's done by white folks. Okay, it's white folks paying tribute to other white folks, and they have cut out the original people at all, and it's just a staged. It's a show. They're just putting on a show right now, and they're playing both parts. And not to, I apologize if that's offensive to people, but when you understand that the original people were dark skinned, they were the ones considered the N-word. We are the colored, the Aborigines, whatever you want to call it. Now to see that people are claiming this and then that are not of those attributes, okay, or those phenotypes, and they're turning around and telling the people who look like this that they're from Africa, that is a huge problem, okay. And what happened was, if we look here to the left of the picture, there is a mulatto woman, probably, one of their cousins or whatever, whose father or mother was white. She, you know what I mean? That mixed in between them. The mulattoes ended up taking over all of the tribes. And mind you, it didn't have to necessarily be malicious. I'm sure in the beginning it was probably like, okay, hey, we're dealing with this game here. We'll send our mixed baby to go and talk to the settlers. We'll have them do all our dealings and whatnot. But what really happened was the original image of the people has gotten erased, and now people are confused and they don't really understand what's going on. But here at the fair, we set the record straight. Okay, we've always been the neighbors. In fact, this is let me see if I have that really quickly. Hey, welcome for those of you guys who just joined us. Okay, we're here talking big. And so, yeah, we're going to listen to the opening scene of Maleficent. Okay. So, Maleficent is that movie with Angelina Jolie. It was very good. And in the opening scene, I don't think I have the very beginning, but it tells you, but right before this part is played, we see the big Disney castle. Okay. And it says something like, let me tell you an old story to see how well you know it. Okay. And what's so funny is we've all forgotten the story. But when you start to reconnect with your roots, I did, my ears perked up. I was like, oh, I know this story. What's going on? Okay. But here we go. You guys ready? As we're talking about the neighbors, let's listen in. You guys ready? Ciao.
Once upon a time, there were two kingdoms that were the worst of neighbors. So vast was the discord between them that it was said only a great hero or a terrible villain might bring them together. In one kingdom lived folk like you and me, with a vain and greedy king to rule over them. They were forever discontent and envious of the wealth and beauty of their neighbors. For in the other kingdom, the Moors, lived every manner of strange and wonderful creature. And they needed neither king nor queen, but trusted in one another.
Okay, you guys hear that? There's a few things that are keywords in that story. It says that, let me tell you about two kingdoms who were the worst of neighbors. Okay, when they were encroaching on lands, mind you, all over the earth, they were interacting with the indigenous people who were dark-skinned people. Okay, and one side of the land, there were people who were jealous. Okay, they were jealous of their neighbors. Why? Because they had a greedy king who was ruling over them and taxing them. And isn't that what we see in the revolution? You know, why the new Americans, okay, the colonists, the white folks, okay, wanted to overthrow the British, because the greedy king had their hand in their pockets. That's what George said. You know what? There, this man, I have, this king has no, right to be in our pockets, have his hand in our pockets as much as I have my right to put my hand in your pocket. Okay, and so. But in the other kingdom, there were the Moors, okay, which is another, and I know people get so I don't know about this whole situation, but these are all just different ways that they called the people who are opposite of them. Okay. It's all interchangeable. Sometimes it is specific to certain areas and regions and whatnot, but that is just another way that they're talking about Black folk. Okay. And they say Moors. Another word would be indigenous, Indian, Aboriginal, Native, even even like an a Hebrew or an Israelite, that they were originally talking people with dark skin and curly hair. That's interesting. I just I'll get into that after that. But and then the opposite would be, you know what I mean, white, colonist, settler, Gentile. Okay, it's I'm getting into a lot right now. Hey, what's good, Tim? Hey, we are lovable and original. That's for sure. I love that. Did I hear more? As you sure did. So I can play it again for you guys. Okay. So far, Tan, we're talking about this wonderful, another one, this wonderful picture from the Virginia Encyclopedia, which states these are our next door neighbors. Okay. So when they're talking about their neighbors and people that they were interacting with, because there's only two people. Okay. When the settlers came here, there's only one person that they were interacting with, which were the original people, which looked like this. Okay. And it said our neighbors, and we talked about how his banner says the banner toting domestic and native industry, and this other brother's over here grinding the corn into hominy. And then we got to actually see the Chickahominy tribe, which means coarse ground hominy, or just like cornmeal. You feel me? I'm sorry, every time I just hear it, it's like, I don't know if I said that earlier in the video. The cornmeal tribe, okay, who are dark skinned, big, broad lips, noses, okay. And we see in this picture to the left their mulatto cousin, who was, I'm sure, like I said, because it doesn't have to always be like, you stole it, we have to understand maybe what people were thinking back then. If we're a group of people who are always having such issues because these people are calling us the N-word, they're attacking us, they're wanting to enslave us and put us on trees, and it's because of our color of our skin. When we started to produce lighter children, we said, okay, it was obvious for us. That's the obvious option to say, hey, you be our spokesperson. You go and take the pictures, okay? While we would get pushed further and further in the back, okay? But these are from beautiful people. Exactly. Thank you. Thank you, birthday twin. Hey, thank you, Gambino family. The settlers was Black too. And you know what I would say about that is everybody in the past was more Black than they were today, right? Because the whole earth, the indigenous people all over, I don't care if you were in America, Europe, Asia, Africa, wherever, the people of the earth were in dark-skinned people. And what has happened is, we have been colonized by what I used to call pale skin invaders. Okay. And I was able to get into the, sorry guys, I was able to get into the family tree DNA. I just have to make a video of that, and then I'll be able to add that into the rotation when we're doing these things. But what I had learned, what we're doing is we're breaking down the DNA situation. We've done it with Ancestry.com. Basically, we found out that there's another portion of the test that proves that the original people were now called African American, because there aren't any Native Americans from Oklahoma going east to the Atlantic. As far as what they call these ancestral journeys, they're only Black and white, and that's reflected in the U.S. Census records and yada, yada, yada. But in the family tree DNA, basically they even break it down like this. They say globally, there's only basically, again, black and white. Okay. And that's why it's a very interesting DNA breakdown with that. And the majority of the people, the indigenous people, they don't really know much about. And that would be just the, the brown people all over. And the Europeans come in 3 different varieties, okay, basically, or categories, okay? There are the hunter-gatherers, the farmers, and then the invaders. And the invaders, the map shows us they came from the Caucasus Mountains. So I don't know exactly what that is, but that's like the epicenter of the colonization. And as they moved into Asia, as they moved into, Europe and whatnot, they started to mix in. And so the wider people are, the longer they have been dealing with colonization, right? Because really, truly, what the overall plan that I'm seeing is, the end game for these colonists is to seed the whole planet. Eventually, they're going for everybody being white, and however many hundred of years that takes. They're going to, breed us out. And that's what they've done with all of the different races. There was once just black and white. So anybody that you see is something in between, because they've been colonized, because we have all the earth and its inhabitants have gone under what they call genocidal rape. But yeah, they want not only for people their skin to get lighter, because then that's how they've taken over the earth. They came here with just a few people. I imagine, with their corporate briefcases and suits, like, because it's a corporate sort of situation. We've been taken over by corporations. In fact, like back in the, colonial Virginia, it would be like the London Company, the Virginia Company. Do you understand what I'm saying? These were companies. It wasn't a government per se. Okay, and it still is a corporation. It's all to make money. And then what they do is they create what they call I think it's called a tabla blanca, like a blank slate, where we've stripped ourselves of our own heritage, and so that it's easy to imprint the slave mentality onto us, so that we're in the system. We're supposed to be generating some sort of, money and that's why when you think about it, when they say that there's only like 1% who owns all of the wealth and stuff, those are the people who, are at the top of this colonization game. And who knows I really don't know. I'm just speaking really tonight, but that's kind of how it's been shown to me. And we're starting now with just explaining who we are as Americans here, because I think, one, as some of the coolest and most influential people on this earth, the so-called Black Americans, the original Americans, we have to show everybody how to do it and how it's done. Okay, what we're doing over here in America when it comes to, reclaiming our identity, and it is difficult and maybe sometimes awkward, because we're having to call out lies, and they have been people who have been standing in our place for however long, but we're gonna have to get past that. As awkward as it is, I'm like, we have to get past that. And so that's what we're doing. That we do this for everybody who feels a little like, oh God, how are we going to do this? Because we have a right to be able to say who we are. And if people who've been saying that they are us feel weird about that, that's going to be on them, because the proof is in the pudding. Were you considered an N-word in the past or not? There was only black and white. And it's very clear that the indigenous ones have always, the so-called Black people who are the indigenous ones, and we have always been here. Okay. You can go back to some of the old lives. That's only 35. I want to get off because I don't want to make these so long, because I know it's hard for people to watch long, streams and whatnot. Maybe I'll just upload some of the videos here or whatever, because I want people to be able to see and understand what we're talking about. But if you go back, we've talked about the Wreck-It Ralph, how, there's this movie called Wreck-It Ralph. There's these arcade game characters. They obviously represent Negroes because they're, getting beaten by the police. They're not allowed to come into the parties. People think they're thieves. They're called glitch, literally, with like no glitch signs, just like we had the no colored signs in Jim Crow. But then we find out, when it comes to Ralph, there's like the song at the end of the movie where it says that, Wreck-It Ralph was a giant of a man, 9 feet tall with really big hands, living on a stump in his very own land. Okay. One. until his world went crazy. He was minding his own business on the day they came. They showed a piece of paper saying eminent domain. Okay. Eminent domain is a policy that the government used to take land from the original people. This happened in Seneca Village. This happened in Bruce's Beach, which more recently where quote unquote Black family, which is an original family, because even one of the main spokesmen from that family calls himself Chief Yellowfeather. We know who we are. It's really just the racist, the fact that we've all been taught by King Candy. That's the other part of the Wreck-It Ralph breakdown, which is the establishment that, to treat us poorly. And how dare people do that? We're trying to say who we are, and people have a problem with that because you guys have been taught by liars. That's just the truth. And so the other part of the Wreck-It Ralph is there's the other arcade game character in her game. Like I said, she was called a glitch, and it was all because of this King Candy who is now running the game. They always when they're introducing his character, the rightful ruler of Sugar Rush, King Candy, but we find out he's not even from the game. He's a rogue player from another game, aka a settler. Okay. And he has taught everybody else in the game to hate her. And they were calling you Glitch. We don't want to race with you, Glitch. And what we find out else, what he did was he ripped out her code. He went into the code, you know what I mean? The hardware, whatever, the software. I don't know. I'm not a techie, but he went into the coding of the game. Okay. And he ripped out her code and he locked her and all the rest of the racers' memories up. And if she crosses the line, she's not going to be a glitch anymore. Finally, she ends up crossing the finish line. And we find out that she was actually the rightful ruler of the game. Okay. The whole game was about her, Princess Vanellope. And that's where we're at here as Black Americans. We are reestablishing ourselves and our nationality. Hey, welcome you guys. So, I'm going to replay the thing. So just to give everybody a chance, if they want to sign our petition, and then, I'm going to have to go because my computer is dying completely. I've got to get a battery for this, y'all.
For years, we've been told a version of history that simply isn't true. But what if I told you that the proof of who the true original Americans are has been hiding in plain sight inside Ancestry.com's own data? Most people only pay attention to the ancestral regions in their DNA results. But there's another section most people overlook, something called ancestral journeys. And this section tells a very different story. In the region known as Indigenous America's North, there are only two community groups listed: African American and European settler. No Native American communities. None. That means, according to Ancestry.com, the only groups historically rooted in this land are Black Americans and European settlers. This lines up exactly with the 1828 Webster's Dictionary definition of American, which states an American is a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals, or copper-colored races, found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. So who are the present-day, copper-colored Aboriginals from these lands? The African Americans. And who are the descendants of the European arrivals? The settlers. How do we know this is the truth? Because in Ancestry.com's own data, they are giving Black Americans the nationality American, while labeling their oppressors settlers. The truth has been in front of us all along. This isn't just about one group. This is about correcting history for everyone. Ancestry.com's own research confirms what has been hidden for centuries, but they refuse to acknowledge it. That's why we're calling on Ancestry.com to tell the truth. Our petition demands full transparency and an end to this misclassification. Because history belongs to all of us, and it's time to set the record straight. Sign the petition now. Share this video. Because the truth matters to all of us.
Okay, you guys. I'm also gonna make sure I put the website again. So also I was talking to Mama Mike. Hey, Mama Mike. Hey, Jay Remy. And I was thinking, what we'll do is, for those of us who have joined the site, one, if you guys have joined the site and you guys have not added our little group, it's called the OGs. Okay, it's like our first members here of the fair OGs. Go ahead and do so. What we'll do is we'll start to do kind of like a Zoom meeting, so that we can have some more interaction. I can hear you guys talk and I can hear your voices, and we can have some more interactions and stuff like that. So if you guys want to have some a not public, discourse about this, we can make sure that you guys, like I said, join the fair and create like a profile and come join the conversation over there. Like, so we're going to start that and put that in rotation. Let me add the website. We're at Fair Rules, FAIRERULES.org. I'm gonna look at some of these comments and then I'm gonna have to get going, y'all. Let me see. Chances, I just wish we can vote on a solidified name for our identity and not step on those other people's toes. So we have a space we take of our own. I love that, and what I say is we can just call ourselves original Americans, right? Because nobody was thinking about our toes when they wanted to create something, you know what I mean? Knowing that we've been just called color this whole time. They're like, oh no, we get to now claim as indigenous. Nobody thought about that. So yeah, okay, if they want to take the what would it be there? The Native American, American Indian, which are two terms that came way after, you know what I mean, the free inhabitants and what we were originally called, which were labels too. Like we don't need to be called Negro or colored or whatnot. I just say original Americans because we are the only people, the only Americans of these lands. I'll show you. Okay, we're the only Americans for this landmass. They're either an African American, and the only other communities are settlers, and they were settling and surrounding our towns. Go back and watch the one about the trolls. I'm not going to do a big breakdown like I just did about Wreck-It Ralph, but basically, they make it clear that the trolls are Black people. They sing, they dance, they had joy and all this stuff, right? And they were discovered by the Bergens, which is a huge keyword. Okay, when anything is discovered, we're talking about colonization. And then the Bergens trap them in, you know what I mean? They're on their land, which is represented by the troll tree, and they get trapped in there and they're surrounded. They build their town around it, which is like the suburbs. It gets deep. Go ahead. We'll like I said, I'm coming back to making those easier lessons as well. But we have been surrounded, and we are the only Americans, according to Ancestry.com, of these lands. Oh, that'll be the last thing I show you guys. Hold on, let me see if I can pull this up. Okay, so because listen, there is no stepping on toes, because really what we'll find is the people who are calling themselves Native American, they're either just settlers or mixed. And once we set the foundation as the originals, okay, as we have every right to do that, to be able to stand, we are the only people. I mean, if they weren't able to pull this a couple hundred years ago, because there is nobody else. You see what I'm saying? It was only when we started to mix in that they've created a space for themselves, and now the majority of all of us are now tiptoeing around them, when we just have to say, hey, we're the people of this land. We've always been this people of these lands, and they will be able to fit in with us. Okay, and the reason why I say that is this. Here's a couple of clips from some YouTubers, okay, who have always been told that they have Native American ancestry, but when they took their Ancestry.com test, it said that they were Black. Okay, they're like, what's weird? I thought we were Native American. Do you understand what I'm saying? So even the white people who has been claiming this are now the American blood that they thought that they had. They're being told that's Black or African. Okay, but what I would want to do is be able to reach out them from the fair and share with them about the ancestral journeys, so that they can look in and see, okay, yeah, on one side their ancestral regions, they're attributing it to Africa, but there's another part of the test, the journeys, that if they, if their stuff is showing up, it'll be under an African American community. We have to set the record straight. And that's going to be good for everybody, honestly, because at the end of the day, these people are being disenfranchised as well. Okay? Because there aren't any communities for here, that's the reason why they don't want to take no tests, because there's nothing for them to attach to. unless they're going to be attaching to Black communities. And that's probably another reason why, like I said, they tell their tribal members not to take it, because the gig will be up. Okay. And they don't want to have to go through our communities to be able to establish their rights here. But there was only Black and white. But let me show you guys. Can I share the screen? Okay, you guys ready? Oh, let me get it together first. Okay, it's on here. But I'm down to hear what people think. I just think American is brilliant because that's what everybody wants to be, American. So for us to have American here and for them to have settlers, it's a no-brainer. What are we doing? If we're the only, if we're looking at all the data, okay, from ancestry.com, and we're seeing that we're the only Americans for all of these lands, okay, plus more, there isn't anybody else claiming it, then why won't we stand up? You see what I'm saying? I'm not saying it to you right now because we're just going it over, but it's a clear pathway for us to stand up and say, hey, we are the original Americans. This is the proof that our ancestors have been needing for the past 400 years, that they've been trying to live here in peace without being hung on trees. I'm not trying to curse. But okay, here we go. Yeah, you guys ready? So this is Ashley Loves Condiments. Hi, Ashley Loves Condiments. Let me tell you, girl, I love your videos. I love watching you eat your lunch in your car. And that's how I came across this video. So thank you so much for doing what you do. It's amazing. And I'm loving to share this video of yours because it's so telling in what we do here at the fair. So let's go.
I actually get this question a lot, more so on YouTube than TikTok. I did my DNA ancestry thing a couple years ago, and obviously I'm white. I'm mostly white, English, Irish, Scandinavian, all the varieties of white, European. But I'm also 13% West African. It was the Ivory Coast and Congo, I think it was. And this is according to Ancestry, the DNA test. So, I mean, I would imagine facts are facts. A lot of my family tried to say that, we're Native American, and maybe we are. Certain tribes, they can't I don't know, trace the DNA. I have no idea, but according to Ancestry, I am white and a little bit of Black.
Sage Wonder here, coming at you from my van down by the river. So
hey, so did you guys get to hear that? Did you guys get to hear what I was talking about too? So yeah, I don't know if you got to hear my disclaimer about Ashley, but I don't know if that got recorded or not because I didn't want to switch the page over. Doesn't matter. One, thank you, Ashley, for, like I said, what you do. I really like your videos. And same with Sage Wanderer. I've been a subscriber for years. I love the whole freedom aspect. And I think that that's where, especially us who want to get back to our roots, that's where really Black and white can connect as neighbors. Okay. If white people have been holding on to some of the traditions, you see a lot of white people still like to go and hunt and get into nature, and they know the trees and the animals and stuff like that because they have been sitting in as the original Americans. Well, they taught us that we needed to get out here into this system and turn our back on it. But, the more that I connect with my roots, the more that's what I like to do. I love to take hikes. I love to, connect with the earth and hunt. And I like my freedom and my sovereignty. So, much love and respect to you, Sage Wanderer. I'll play a little bits of his video. I do believe around here. He talks about basically, he always knew he was Native American, but when he got his test back, it said he was Black. Okay. And not, and he is mixed also with white too, just like her as well. But what we're finding out is the people who are calling themselves natives, it's not necessarily, we're thinking that we're stepping on the toes of maybe, for instance, if we're looking here, let me show you guys at this indigenous North America, which would be the woodland territory. There's still the plains in Mexico and stuff. And these people have been mixed in as well. We're not stepping on their toes. We're even I'm even really specifically talking about the lands over in the green section. Okay. And what we're finding out is the people who are claiming Native American of those areas are mixed mulatto blend. Not all. I mean, there's still some people that are brown like us that are still in their tribal, have their tribal identity or whatever, their clan identity. It's not always tribal. We were just free inhabitants. We're Negroes. We're the people of the land. The only people that you would see if you're riding up, unless you got to a white town. That's a different story. But what we're finding out is there's some bands. I'll never forget this. When I started to look into the Uchi, the Uchi, okay, the Uchi, and let's see if I have some of those. Oh, I'll get back to it. But the they have brown people, okay, who have have like a tribal page and whatnot, telling about their history. And they talk about how they've been stalked because there is another band of these Yuchi, and they spelled a little different, who are just white. Okay, so that's what I'm getting down to, is that, you know, there's just white people who are saying that I'm Cherokee now, or I'm this or that. And I don't think they realize that that only happened when their ancestors took over towns and they just started to declare themselves as us. Okay, and that's the reason why you've been taught to hate us, is because we're the people who you have been, you know, who you've stole from in this country, and who you've, and I'm not talking about the people who I'm playing right now, but I'm talking about just white America in general, and the establishment. The reason why racism happened to Black people is because we are the people who have been usurped here, okay, and supplanted. And what we're doing here is just setting the record straight so that people can be who they are. Okay, that's just it. Sorry not to get upset. But that's just how I feel about it. But I will never forget the Yuchi started to talk. Let me see if I can find it. But it broke my heart to hear how they talked about they have always been stalked. They've always been stalked by this here, yeah, let's get this. I remember this lady's face. Let me see if I can find it, y'all. Sorry. I don't want to spend all this time right here looking for it. I'm gonna find it and then I'll add it to the community page and post. And if I have it, if I say I'm gonna do that, or say I'll try to, and I have not, remind me, you guys. Like, hey girl, where it at? Put it in the comment section, okay? Hey, Shalom, Ocean Soul, welcome you guys. We were talking about how we're gonna start doing Zooms, and so we can have some conversations and stuff like that, and I get to hear you guys and whatnot on the channel. So make sure, if you guys have not already joined the membership on the Fair Rules, the channel, I can summarize what the Yuchi lady said. It was something about being stalked by this entity, and it's like that's kind of how it was. Our families were being watched. They were learning about us, and then they wanted to take over our identities and stuff like that. And that's just really what's happened. And we have every right to be able to reclaim it back. And we're not saying other people can't claim it either. We're just saying that we're going to claim it too. We're the Americans. And that even goes into the definition of American. I will play that really quickly. The definition itself says that American once used to be, it once used to define, or it was once, God, it was originally applied to, there we go. It was originally applied to the Aboriginals. We all know what Aboriginals are. Okay. When I love hearing Malcolm X talk about it, when he says, anytime you talk about Aboriginal, you're talking about dark-skinned people, natives, okay, Black folks. It was originally applied to the Aboriginals, or the copper-colored, right? They call us colored races found here, but now it is applied to white people born in America. Okay, and we'll play that really quickly, and then I'll play a little bit of Sage Wanderer's video. Can you guys not see me? I don't know. Let me see.
The definition of American. The 1828 Webster's Dictionary defines an American as a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals, or copper-colored races, found here by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. Your ancestry holds the key. The fair encourages everyone to research their genealogy, connect with historical records, and rediscover their true roots. Every generation carries a piece of the story, one that deserves to be reclaimed. Join us in reclaiming history. Visit the fair today. Connect with your roots and restore your identity.
Okay, yeah. So that's it. That's even within the definition of American. It's always been black and now it's white. Okay, and that's why we have the switcheroo and whatnot. What Tan's saying is interesting. I was just reading about those are our grandfathers. They're still in our bloodlines, which is true. Like I said, I learned about the situation because of my white grandfathers and their roles in taking over the identity. Okay, and it's like poster children for the identity thieves. Okay. And so that's why it's like, I feel like it's almost like my duty to come back and explain everybody and make things very clear. But like whether it comes to, I mean, all my Georges, okay, like the George Washington, the George Hildebrand, okay, and George means farmer, okay, the farmers who came and took over. And somebody else mentioned too, what was it? It was good, boho. It says ours and their connection to the land, animals, and sun are not the same, which is true. Okay. We have a different connection. But at this, what I'm referring to is the fact that, you know, as we've been putting to the system and to the corporate, you know, the city and whatnot, a lot of us have lost our connection to the land, to the animals, and we have to reconnect it. We've been living in the concrete jungle. Okay. We're living in the concrete jungle. I don't understand. So I went with my friend yesterday. Oh, that's another thing. Maybe I'll tell this really quickly and we'll end it. She got a tattoo and they were in there playing all the good Bob Marley and Wailer songs. And I'm like, ugh, I gotta start putting this back into rotation. I haven't even listened to Bob Marley in a minute. But I'll tell you, she told me about this dream she had. And my friend is white, Caucasian, okay? And she told me that she dreamt she was on this beach. Maybe I shouldn't tell this dream. I don't know. Exactly. Yeah, I'm loving what Birthday Twin is talking about. He's saying there's no way the Native Americans or the American Indians. The Oxford Dictionary definition of the word N-word is referred to the American Indians. They were never called colored or nigger. Well, yes, and no. It depends. Okay, depends on who it is. Their ancestors might have. Okay, but they've whitened their bloodline out so much that they don't look like the original people anymore. And since they have so much white privilege and authority, as they say, I'm Choctaw, I'm Cherokee and stuff, it's like people believe them more than the original people. That's why we have to bring out definitions like the N-word, okay? Which we've had. But no, yeah, we're not gonna live in no fear. But yeah, that was it. So what else was I was about to say something. I don't think I played the Sage One Door. Maybe I'll do that for another one. Let me see. Let me just skip through and see if I can. Oh, here we go. But he even right now he's talking about his connection to the land and whatnot. You know what I mean? And he talks about how his dad was darker skinned. Okay. And he always knew his Native American side. I'll have to clip it up because it's a longer video than the one we saw from Ashley Loves Condiments. But what we're finding out is even the white people who've always been claiming Native American, we share communities. Now, those of us who have more brown in us, who have more of the American blood, we have more. If you took the Ancestry.com test, right, you would have more of the African American communities in your lineage, right? And then maybe a settler community, depending on how much white. Like I do have a settler community. Well, it's my brother's ancestry, but it's all the same. We have the same parents, okay? Okay. And I've already knew that. I through my doing my genealogy, I know I have some white grandfathers and plus the ancestry prior to them too. So hundreds of them, okay, of my ancestry prior to just, when the bloodlines had mixed in, right? Because it comes with all the people before that too. And so you'll find out that Black people really were comprised of Black and white. Okay, if at all, I'm sure there's some of us who are more full-blooded. You know what I mean? You probably have to, go to some small towns in the South. Maybe, I don't know. I might be generalizing or making an assumption that's not true. So, I don't know. Don't quote me on that part. I'm just thinking, right? I'm sure there's some small towns in the South who never really mixed in with folks and they're still very dark-skinned. And if they took their blood test, it will say that they're just from those areas. You know what I mean? But I'm a mixture of different bands and whatnot. And as an American, we're American. I'm saying, we're Americans, okay? We have every right to say that and claim that and teach people what that really means and make it clear because listen, Sage Wanderer, he was emotional about that. First he really thought they were trying to say that he wasn't his dad's kid. Okay. They're like, what's going on? My dad's Native American. He knows his people were Native American on that side. And but really what the test is saying is they're trying to denationalize all of us, okay, including people like that. So I feel like that's what I will tell this story, okay. I feel like a lot of even white people who share this heritage, okay, they're going to be happy to understand too because they're being disenfranchised now too, just like us. Their American blood isn't showing up on these tests. There's, I'm sure, tons of them. I just came across those because I'm actually, I subscribe to their channels, okay? And I was able to catch those videos, but I'm sure there's tons of other white people out there who are like, I always was taught I was Native American, but when I took my test, it didn't say that. And then even interesting enough, right? Some of them they're like, actually, I found out I was part Black, okay? And that's where we can connect. We need to, we have to. So I remember when I first moved back to Hayward, right? I'm getting involved in all these different organizations, right? And I have a wonderful friend who is an older white gentleman. And I was showing him this, right? And he kept saying, oh, well, what about this? And I was like, nope, right? No, because why do they say American? Why does it say settler? All this stuff, right? And I'm just breaking it down because it's like I'm looking for support and I'm establishing ourselves here. People need to know what I do and what's going on, okay? And when I started to explain that to him and I was showing him like barbecue is indigenous to America and cornbread and all of the parts of the foundation, you know what that man said to me? He looked at me and he said, you know what? He says, I'm proud to be an American and I understand what that means now. Do you see what I'm saying? So you don't understand when we just have to set the record straight and we have to stand up. And we have enough information now to stand up, but it's going to take it's going to take a lot of us. Right now, a lot of people are on solo journeys trying to, establish information, share this stuff. We have to come together. We're going to have to unite because, it's our nation and we have been called to make things right for our people so that we're not lost. Okay. But I will never forget. He was a very proud American man. He was like, I'm proud. And you know what? He was like, I see what you're saying. He was like, and you know what? I'm proud. I'm proud to be an American. Okay. Because what was so funny about it was, I have also, do I have that with me? Give me a second. Do I? Yeah, I'll show you. So this is prior to when before I reorganized the thing. This is when it was still our unified coalition. Okay, just the facts. This is our DNA brochure, Understanding Ancestry DNA. One of the communities that I mentioned, okay, this is fact 3, the African American communities are actually well documented indigenous American communities, including but not limited to the Petey River and Little Petey River, the Virginia Tidewater, North Carolina Blue Ridge Mountains, Savannah River Basin, and Pearl River, Mississippi, right? And the guy looks at me and he was like, my people are from the PD. Right. And so you guys don't know, like, as much as this is a spiritual journey, like I might be saying something to you and it's hitting on a different level that, you know, is not really being talked about. It's just something that you might have been looking at earlier. This is a spiritual journey for us all. And he was like, I'm from the PD. And mind you, he was saying that he had some Native American ancestry. Okay. So it's like, this is connecting with people in their souls, no matter what tone or skin tone you are now. Okay. That's why we're calling for all people to come together. You know, Sage Wanderer Ashley loves condiments. Okay, join the fair. Okay. And you know what I mean? Like I feel like honestly, the way that we're breaking it down, this could be a wonderful way to unify Black and white America, because we're all being written out right at this moment. Okay. As far as, you know, when it comes to indigenous, they're trying to erase any indigenous identity from these lands. Okay, by saying there's no indigenous, but there's still the African American and the European settler. It's just us, Black and white. Same thing that goes back to the census records. I'll show that, but I do gotta go because my computer. I don't want my computer to die on the stream. Okay, yeah, I gotta go. I'll show you guys that later. You guys can go back, look. You can find the census records. Just put U.S. Census and Race and Ethnicity for the PEW, Pew Research Center. Okay. I love you guys. I'll be back. I'll try my hardest to come back early before I have a lot. I'm doing some stuff tomorrow evening for my birthday to celebrate. Hey, maybe we'll do a birthday stream, probably like maybe around maybe 11 or noon or something like that, PST tomorrow. So I hope to see you guys there. Thank you guys so much for joining me this evening. I love you. Yeah, for sure. We do. We can use the other information to be able to make our own data. But right now the data is open. You know what I mean? We're just collecting and compiling it. Okay. But I love how Tan's thinking. That's how you think like a leader. Okay. You have to start to know what we need to do. And that's where we need to get our minds at. Okay. We've been, you know, learning and thinking about it and sharing about it. But now what are we going to do? How are we going to stand up? And really, like I said, there's so many people who are already standing up, you know, and that's why it's the unification piece, because we are stronger together. Don't let anybody tell you that we have to stay away from these other people and these people are not and all that. No. Okay. We have to let people understand. And if they don't understand, that's fine. It might not be their time to wake up, or they might actually be contracted to tell us to discourage us from waking up. So we have to leave people alone and where they're at, but we still have to do what we have to do to be able to advocate for ourselves and our nation. And we'll continue to do that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I love you guys so much. Make sure you guys like the video. And if you guys have not subscribed and you're watching, please subscribe. Subscribe to our other YouTube channel, youtube.com/fairrules.org. That's FAIRE rules.org. I mean, not just Fair Rules for the YouTube, but also join our channel or visit for more information. We're at Fair Rules, FAIRE rules.org. And sign our petitions on the Fair Stand. Join our membership. I'll tell you guys about that later. I don't want my thing tonight, but I love you guys so much. I hope you guys have a wonderful night, and I will see you guys soon. Night, guys.